Origins!
Oh my god! I'm sorry guys, that's my bad. It's just zombies are so goddamn scary.
Oh, except Sonic in his Hummer.
Long ago, before the Gmod junk that we have today, we have what I would consider the two titans of the genre, that being Belena Productions and SMG4. Now, I'm going to be giving my opinion on one of these guys today, and as for the other, let me just say, back in about early middle school, I had a feud with a friend of mine on, which was better, Sonic or Mario, and for once, this is the instance where Sonic won out. That's right. Get the fuck out of my face, SMG4. You expect me to read? I'm not here to read. If I wanted to go read, I'd go back to school and read Harry Potter, you loser. Belena Productions was started by Stephen Page on August 1st, 2010. And his first video, Sonic and Glitchhog, is just a stop motion, animatic video, but it was all made through Gary's Mod, and it was kind of like one of the first animated videos in Gary's Mod. But who cares about that, because 3 years later, he would upload Sonic Zombie, and this was the banger, baby!
Yeah! Dude, it's the skibidi toilets!
Over the next 5 years or so, he continued to make episodes in the Sonic Zombie series before, just kind of leaving it, because after doing this for so long, you end up a broken man. We'll get to that later.
That's real good. Bastard.
Now, if I were to cover the entirety of what happens in this series, it would just be the ramblings of a stupid madman. So instead, I just want to point out and take a look at a lot of the nuances and things that add a lot of charm to this series that I think still make it somewhat enjoyable, and also point out a lot of the things that kind of make it outdated nowadays, even around its time. Whatever the generic humor bait was for a decade ago. Like a pretty clear-cut example of what I'm talking about when I mean somewhat outdated humor is just seeing Shrek in almost any SFM thing ever, because Shrek, you have to have that. Shrek is love, Shrek is life, all that junk. It's just really funny to still look back and see how much people gave a shit about Shrek during a time where people kind of thought Shrek was kind of garbage. So, and alongside that, the main adventure is just a bunch of random junk, like Knuckles turning into some gigantic weird reptile monster, or them crashing a hot air balloon into an amusement park, just random stuff like that. And while on the topic of that, I might as well just talk about the cast of characters anyway.
Because we only want the big boys, and the big boys are right there. Those honkadonkas, those big mommy milkers.
For this segment, I'm only going to be really mentioning the main cast that shows up throughout the entirety of the series, pretty much, because most of the side characters show up for 5 minutes and then die. So, I'll mention them if I care enough. The other thing I'll be pointing out as I mention these characters is the fact that pretty much every one of them is either a stereotype or just a parody of another character. So Sonic in this series is literally the exact same as Sonic's been for the past 40 years. Just a cold-blooded American man who bleeds red, white, and blue and drives a Hummer. Tails is here is the generic Mexican stereotype, only caring about tacos and enchiladas. Shadow is just the Russian dude with a gun.
I have the gun.
Rouge is literally here just for 2 reasons: for sex jokes and to be thumbnail bait. No joke, every single thumbnail pretty much. That's literally her purpose.
This is gonna make one great preview image.
Oh, and this clip right here too.
Sonic grabbed Rouge's boobs.
I feel it all right.
Come on, baby, have this one out.
Now here, Amy is very important. Amy is so crucial to the plot. I'm not even kidding. This could not function without her existence. Her entire character is just,
Oh, me woman, me dumb.
Knuckles is pretty cool, and he's literally just Eddie Murphy. Knuckles exists in this so that Shrek has a purpose and a reason to be here. Wow, would you look at that? A callback? Man, I gotta slow down. This is getting too far.
Shut the fuck up!
Cream is pretty awesome. They die in the first 5 minutes, and they're simply here so I have a valid reason to use this clip.
Hasta la vista, baby!
And that's pretty much the main lineup. Yeah, I know I said I didn't mention any of the side characters or anything. I mean, included in that bunch of characters is literally just the villains for each arc of the episodes. The only thing is, I really don't care. I genuinely don't. They are characters that serve one purpose and don't return except for maybe one time in the finale. So yeah, I'm really not planning on mentioning them because I don't care. A good example of what I'm talking about is literally that SBO shows up one time in the ship episode and then shows up one time in the finale to hook up with Knuckles, because that's funny. That's literally it. And I will give these characters about as much attention as the person who filled out the Belena Productions wiki did, because Big the Cat literally has a first appearance listing under Sonic Zombie Origins, but when you look at the character list, he isn't even on it. So I'm going to give about as much attention as that did. So until you can start caring about Big the Cat, I'm done with you. Whoever filled out this wiki, let me just scroll down and see. Oh, I didn't know fandom wikis didn't have credits. I thought what the hell? Wait, hey, can we cut that last segment out?
What the fuck?
Something else I did want to discuss very briefly are the little like tiny things that make this series kind of imperfect, but I think in my opinion that just adds more charm to it. A good example of this is the fact that the Gmod health meter is always in the bottom of the screen. I think that's pretty funny. The constant ragdolls look really stupid, that they just fly all over the place. There's a million times where he's trying to do some kind of action in the scene, and Gmod just starts wigging out and just lagging for absolutely no reason, and it's really funny like that. But most importantly, out of all those is Billy, who is the narrator for the entire series, which you can see even on the wiki, he is listed as a character in the series. And I always get a kick out of every time when he's messing around with the engine and something goes wrong and Billy just starts freaking out. There's literally an entire compilation on YouTube, which I'll have linked below, that is genuinely just a collection of Billy just raging at Gmod not working half the time, which is pretty funny. And the other thing is also just, you'll notice a bunch of times in the background, you'll just see the physics gun just sitting there as the character's like being held up, which is another thing I think is really cute and cool. So figured I'd mention that too. It's just, there's so much in this series that's there to love, and despite all of its flaws and stuff, it's pretty charming. I feel like a lot of it is really outdated, and it's kind of somewhat hard to watch today when you know, this was definitely a product for its time. There's a lot more high quality animated stuff nowadays, even through Gmod and SFM as a whole, that I'd say are better, but don't really capture the sense of magic that this series did, especially around the time that it came out, because Sonic Zombie really was one of the few to start pioneering a genre like this, and you got to give it a lot of respect for that. To end this video, I want to bring up something that was mentioned earlier in the video. We'll get to that later.
Wow, what an asshole.
Even based on the wiki, I'm not super up to date on this, so I could be wrong about it, but regardless, at some point a couple years back, YouTube was in a bit of a rough state. I mean, to be fair, YouTube's always been in a rough state. It's pretty insane that a website that's existed for nearly 2 decades still has such basic problems as this. But a lot of Steven's videos were being labeled as for kids, and therefore weren't being monetized, and he was losing a fair amount of his income. So he started a Patreon around that time to help fund his projects, because, you know, YouTube's a pretty risky job at the end of the day, with everything that can go wrong, from strikes, terminations, false copyright claims, all that junk. So I really hope that he's getting the support that he needs, and if you want to help Steven out as well, I will be leaving not only his channel link, but a link to his Patreon in the description as well. If you truly do care about stuff like this and really enjoy what he does, feel free to go on and support him. I think that'd be great. And with all that being said,
Hasta la vista, baby!
yeah, okay, so I took the outro. What are you gonna do about it?